Hi friends, it's Lori. Welcome back to my channel. Thanks for tuning in, Lori J Journals. I am here today to do the final the challenge 3 of the 3-game challenge I've been doing in the Creative Space Junk Journal group. And I'm not going to re-explain everything because you can go back and look at challenge 1 and 2. I will show you really quick. I made this easy e-zine using dog items for the first challenge. I did by the water. I made this crinkly glassine bag with embellishments. All of these items, the shells and this cover art are from the challenge, and then I made a couple of tags to tuck in. So the third challenge, my last piece of supply that I'm required to use to finish the challenge successfully, is coffee. And though I think this might look like hot cocoa, I don't know, it looks delicious, whatever it is. So let's call it a mocha latte. So before I get started, I do want to throw out a quick disclaimer. I started creating this video already, and this seems to be a broken record for me, but I ran into some technical problems. I was out of storage on my phone, which is where I record my videos, and so the video failed. Fortunately, I hadn't gotten that far, so I feel like I can retrace my steps. I just want to explain why there are some things that are already in, actually really only one thing in play already. So just to recap, this is the one item I'm required to use. I've been feeling through this challenge a little bit like I'm on the show Chopped on Food Network. I'm allowed to use other items as long as I highlight this item. And though it wasn't said, I feel like the required things should be at the forefront, right? They shouldn't be hiding in the back. I have the dog ephemera right on the front. I have the seashells and the cover art right on the front of the bag. So I feel like this item should be front and center. But because it's coffee themed, I immediately thought of some items. I have an idea where I'm going already. Last week, I worked on some coffee stained paper, and this was one of the ones I made. You can see that it was a stencil. And so I cut this bottom piece off just so it wouldn't be so obvious that it was a stencil. I feel like if I embellish around the edges, it won't be as obvious. I've already decided that I'm going to turn this into a pocket. I'll get back to that in a minute. I brought over a doily because when I think of coffee, I also, coffee and tea, you think of a doily. And the third item I brought over is a coffee filter. These are really common in Happy Mail in some of the groups. And so I've been gifted some of them over time, and I really don't use them a whole lot. So I thought, what a perfect project, a coffee themed project. It's the perfect use for a coffee filter. The last thing I brought, and I don't know what and how much I'll use. I don't plan to use a lot. I actually had this brand new ephemera set from Stamperia. It's coffee and chocolate. Yum, two of the greatest things ever. And I'm not going to use a lot of it because I do want to highlight the piece that was sent to me. But there are a lot of little pieces in here that I thought might add, like, there are some coffee beans, okay? And I'm going to apologize, hopefully for the last time, for all the shadows in here. I did get new bulbs for my room, and they just came today, and my husband will be installing them over the next day or two. So we should have better light in here. All right. So I already decided I was going to do a pocket, and the only step I did prior to my battery or my storage giving out on me was I punched this cutout in the front of the pocket. I used this oval cut, and you didn't get to see that because it's on the failed video. But anyway, what I was about to do, which I can share now, is I pulled what is more perfect for a coffee themed make than ground espresso. And this is Distress ink from Tim Holtz Ranger ink. I say that because I know some of the people who are watching from this group are new to junk journaling, but I think a lot of people, this is one of the first supplies they have is distress ink. And I'm going to use the new Tinies by Tim Holtz. And I love these because my hands are really small. And often when you're working on small pieces, it's nice to have that little. And I want to get up close and show you the difference in size, first of all. This is the traditional one. This is the new mini, or new, I think they're called Tinies. I think this one's actually called a mini. And I want you to look at the difference between the top and the sides. So these traditional ones are flat. They're used to ink edges, and sometimes when you try to get on the surface, or at least on an angle, you get kind of this circular shape. So the genius that is Tim Holtz came up with the idea of these, or his team, whoever it is, came up with the idea of this dome, and so you don't get an edge. It gets a much softer inking. So I'm going to use this, and the first thing I'm going to do here is ink the opening. And it's not that important, but I'm doing it first because I always forget. And then I glue everything together, and it's too hard to get inside. So, and you see it blends right in with the coffee dye I already did. I'm going to add a little more just to blend. Because it's espresso, it's really nice and dark. And I'm going to do around the bottom edges too, though I don't know if they're going to show. Mostly because of this stencil issue I have going on here. Okay. And this is what I meant about being able to kind of smudge it along and not have the print of the edges, which comes out on these. Might as well ink the sides while I'm at it. And a lot of this will get covered, so I'm not overly concerned, but might as well get it out of the way now. Blend the coffee in with the rest. And I might decide to do something in here later, but I haven't decided yet, so I'm going to leave it for now. And I think what I'm going to do is use a little bit of my Vintage Photo Liquid Distress. And I have to be honest, I'm not sure. I always wonder if this is, okay, no. It is for quick coverage, for backgrounds and stuff like that. And so it's I was wondering if it was designed to refresh your ink pads, but it's not. You can probably use it for that. But and the reason why I'm going to use this instead of the ink pad is because I want to get a really light, liquidy. I'm going to stick my paintbrush in some water to get it really saturated. And I'm just going to take a little off the top here and see if I can get some. What I don't want to do is put this right on there because I've done that before and it's a little too dark. So again, getting some water just to keep it saturated and not saturated, to keep it from the color being super saturated. And I'm just kind of bringing that down. I take a little bit more. Again, a lot of this is going to get covered when I start embellishing, but just going to take away those hard edges from the, and you can see the ink I've already put on there will blend with water too. That's the thing about distress ink. So it's not permanent. And it just takes away that sharp edge that I had from the what do you call it? The stencil, right? I still get some of the design, but it doesn't have that sharp white edge around because the stencil was smaller than the paper. So it stenciled the coffee and then left the white frame around it. And I've already decided that I want to close this side and the bottom to create a pocket. So now what I'm trying to do is decide how I want to embellish. And what I thought is that I bring the doily in for design, but I think I want to ink it a little bit. And I want to use the filter as a pocket. I'm going to put a tags or something in there. And I might make it a double pocket. Maybe glue this to here and then keep both of these open. Okay, so, but first I think I want to ink this up a little bit. Just so that, you know, just getting a little bit of the brown blended in, because everything else looks coffee stained. And I ripped this a little bit, so I'm going to bring it down on the back. I think this is how I'm going to seal the side. I'm going to glue this down, maybe even so. And then I think do it like that. And then on my, so I have a full pocket where I can put in tags or journal cards. And then I have these small pockets where I can put in some small tags or a little bit of ephemera. And I think I like that. So the very first thing I want to do before I go any further is glue this down. I'm just using art glitter glue. Talked about this many times before. This is really good for details. It's also a nice small bottle, which is pretty much why I have it out today. And I'm not going real close to the edge because I want to sew, and you don't want to sew your needle through glue. Doesn't do well. It's not good for the sewing machine. Okay, and so by doing that, I created, and actually, yeah, I created a double pocket here, but you know what? I do want a little bit more glue in between here, because this is not going to hit the sewing machine, this part. All right. I could ink this too, but I don't think I want to. Some of it's going to be covered, so it won't matter. So essentially what I did is I created a double pocket. I glued the middle together. I'm going to place this on here and this on here. Whoops. And I want to cover this part because I don't like it. So I think I'm going to sew it like that. So I will be back in just a jiffy. And what I did here that probably wasn't the best idea is I sewed over paper that was still a little bit wet, and that's okay. I'm now going to glue this down a little bit, and it won't need a lot of glue. It's really light. This is another great example of why this art glitter glue tip is so good. You can get in between all these little spots. Glue that down. Okay, and I glued this side to here and back. I purposely did kind of like a messy stitch. I like the way that looks. This becomes a pocket, and here's the thing. I can actually use this as a tuck as well. So you can have a pocket in here, a tuck here, and pockets here for tags. Or I can glue this down, and actually, come to think of it, this is where I was going to put this. So I think it is going to get mashed down anyway. So the last thing I want to think about before I glue this down is, of course, you know me, am I going to put a piece of fabric under there? And I kind of feel like I want to, but let me see. I have the perfect piece of fabric, I think. So in a Happy Mail, 100 years ago, I got some of this fabric from Linda, from Just Lane, and I don't know if she actually coffee dyed it or if it's just brown, but isn't this like the perfect color scheme for this? Let's see. The only trouble is it's not really the right shape. I ran into this with the other piece when I was doing the other challenge, right? It doesn't really look good like that. I don't like the the crisscross look. And if I put it this way, not sure. Well, maybe like that. All right, time to do a little, you know how I do this, poke and tear. There's no cutting involved. The scissors is not, in this particular case, the scissors is not for cutting. It's for poking and tearing. And I could do something, you know what? I think I'd rather have it poke out only one side. I think that's what I decided. I think that's what will look best. All right. Oh, look at all this. You know I love the strings, but I don't want too many. All right. So what if we did this? Yeah, I kind of like it. I like the shabbiness on this edge better, but I like the uneven on this side better. So I'm going with this one. And this is a soft fabric. I'm not sure what it is. It feels like it's, you know, either a silky or it's probably not silk based, just by the way it tore, but it's a silk emulated, you know, a silky like fabric. And if I do that, yeah, I think I like that. So the question is glue or sew, and you know what I'm gonna say, sew. So give me 2 more seconds. And we're almost finished. All right, I just did a straight stitch around the trim, the brown trim that was already there, and then I added a little zigzag for interest at the end. It's not even that noticeable because I have beige, really light beige thread in my sewing machine right now. All right, I'm gonna just stick a little tacky glue in there just to hold the fabric down, make it easier to glue this on. And I could have inked the edges of this up too, but you know, I feel like there's such a thing as too much. And I don't like to over ink. All right, I really like this. I'm happy. I like the layers. We got fabric, we've got doily, we've got coffee filter. And the last thing I want to do before I finish up, and mind you, I don't think I have a tag to put in here. We can fake it. Here's this one. Just so you can see what it looks like. I would probably put a wider one in there, but for now, just for looks, I will put, and I'll put another one for contrast. These are just blank tags that I've done nothing with yet, but at least you can see that it would be a tag pocket. And I'm gonna look at some of this ephemera and see what, I like the coffee beans, like I was thinking right there, it might be fun to have a couple of coffee beans to fill that, kind of that blank space there. What else do we have? Cinnamon sticks. Look at this, yum. That's kind of cool. but I think I'll keep it. So look at how cute this is. I'm not going to use it for this because I want to use it for that with that other piece. And again, some of these pieces have a more of a chocolate theme than a coffee theme, and I don't want to take away from the piece I was already given. So I think I'm going to do the beans just like they are. I'm going to glue them down. And the only other thing I'm thinking about to finish this off, I've done pretty well. I'm only 20 minutes. It's a nice quick video. Is something right here. I feel like it needs something. Maybe a sentiment. This is too big. I think it's too much. It's an idea, but I'm not sure I like it. Some of these are really big. They just don't go. I'm just flipping through them quickly. I know they're out of frame, but they're on the side here. There's some really cute stuff in here. I just haven't dug into it yet, because who has time? These are all chocolate pieces, so I don't want to do that. Got the beans already. I don't want to do more beans. I mean, I could do more beans, but I think I want to find a sentiment. So we'll leave that there, audition it, and let me see what I have in the way of sentiments here. I feel like I should have something that says coffee, but I don't. But there's so many different ones that I think would go well here, like something about warmth or pampering yourself. Let's see. These came in a Happy Mail, so I don't know where they're from. I have ones that are similar that I got on Amazon. I'm assuming that's where they came from, but I'm not sure. All right, let's see. So I have the ones that are similar. I don't think I like white with this, so I'm not even gonna look at the ones that are white, because I'll get so upset if I find the right sentiment and I don't have it in the right color.